Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to another Stairway Mountain time trial, where today we are driving the Bolide convertible, as this week's theme is convertibles. This car is quite nice to drive, although it will slide on demand. As you saw, it slid a bit there, and that's not great of it. I believe it's based on the Bolide 350, but with the engine from a 390 GTR, hence why it can't seem to quite handle its power. Overall, though, it's a pretty solid race car, be careful. I did a pretty clean run with this, actually, surprisingly enough. I had one off later in the run where I almost threw it off a cliff, but I somehow managed to back it up and just go on as if life was normal, and I never drove off the track. And that's the thing about this, it will spit you off if you go wrong, but overall it's a pretty nice vehicle to drive. Also, the suspension, I need to mention that it's quite stiff. It's not so stiff to cause problems when you take it over bumps, but you can tell it wouldn't be the most comfortable vehicle in the world, since it is a supercar and it is designed to be a very track-orientated vehicle, as my brain just refused to work for me there. And just a solid vehicle in general. As I said, I didn't have many major crashes, so when I got it to the end, the damage really was caused by the jump. There was bits here and there, but overall it was fine. A good vehicle that I would recommend if you think you can handle it. On to the next vehicle. The next car we have has a regular face steering wheel to this channel. It's a 200BX Varietta by the Trox. This is the LST version, which is the quickest version of the convertible version, with a stage 1 turbocharger. And there is a stage 2, but you can't get convertible with it, so I'm not using that this week. Anyway, it's not a car I would like to drive. I've said enough times before, it feels just too slidey. That's often what caused the problems with this car. Either it would get thrown into a wall, or I would overcorrect for the oversteer or something and crash. And that's not great. But other than that, it doesn't feel particularly different from the hardtop. It doesn't really feel less stiff either. And that's all I've really got to say about it. I did eventually get a clean run after I smashed it up a bit and made it veer to the left, at which point it still did somewhat drive, just it wanted to steer left a bit more than right. With all being said and done, I did eventually get this vehicle to the end, and the time was really quite interesting. It came between the Moonhawk Inline 6 base model and the Bolide 320. It's interesting because it came between the bouncy Moonhawk and the very understeery Bolide with its incredible oversteer. It's not like the Carbon Fibre Madness, which set an 8-minute time though. It's perhaps that it's got less power, but I think grip is really the thing that's lacking here. Maybe it's less stiff than the hardtop and I didn't notice perhaps, but that affected it by making it slide even more. It's just not a car I would really recommend. On to the next vehicle. Next up we have the Auriga Heron convertible. An interesting vehicle, and one that's of a very different era, 1927 to be precise. Now I did take the hardtop around here, and on the post on the BeamNG mods website it says the car weighs 2.3 tons. And why do I mention this? Because it doesn't mention any differentiation in the weight of the convertible and the hardtop. And usually in a convertible you have a lot of stuff to stiffen it up and compensate for lack of roof, but I'm guessing, being a very, very old car, they didn't do that. And it feels very, very wobbly, as you would expect. And it has all the traits of the normal Oregon Heron as well, the hardtop, such as a 7.7 litre V12, which I'm assuming makes around 160 horsepower, and it drives like that vehicle. Only it had an interesting characteristic, which is perhaps attributed to the lack of stiffness. It just tends to lose wheels when it's under pressure. Like, it just gets stressed and says, I don't want this front wheel anymore, and throws it off. And that was how I had the lap for this vehicle for a while, because it was so easy to just get a wheel off the front and keep driving. I actually finished this one with 3 wheels left on the car. I did later go back and finish with 4 wheels though, by some very, very careful driving, and I shaved just a shade under a minute off the time, which is a lot. And it's not the toughest car. There's no pretending it is, because it's old. The reliability probably isn't the same as a modern car, if it was real, and it's just a much different era of vehicle, much more bespoke. As you'll see, I'm driving very, very dangerously now. This would be very disapproved of in the 1920s, but that's what happens when you hitch a ride in the back of my car. Thankfully it's a convertible, so you can just vomit out the side of the car if you do get sick, thereby not damaging my posh upholstery. Back on subject, it's not a very nice vehicle to drive, as I was saying. It's just not got any attributes of a performance car, but that's to be expected because it isn't a performance car. And at higher speeds it's not all that stable either. I believe less stable than the hardtop was, and it set a slower time, which I believe is also attributed to it being less stable. And overall it's a lovely vehicle, but not a performance vehicle. So the time was just a shade under 11 minutes, and that puts it along with a few non-sporty vehicles, such as the Oregon Heron and the Roma Tri. And it's not a very crowded part of the leaderboard because most vehicles are quicker than it, but it's a lovely bespoke thing, and it's surprisingly stable under braking. Now, when I got to the end, I had one with 3 wheels, as I mentioned, which I'd left in just for fun, and I had the other one where I did it properly and set a much quicker time. The 3-wheeled version was slower than the Roma Trike though, which is slightly worrying, even for a car from the 1920s, because it is at least a car, not an aeroplane that I'm driving on the road. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend this as a race car, but it's a nice thing nonetheless. On to the next vehicle. Next up, we have a thing of beauty. This is the Cadillac Series 62 convertible. Took my brain a while to get there, and it actually has a convertible roof, which you can trigger by turning on the lights, as I did there, conveniently. And it's a nice vehicle to drive, I say, as my hubcap randomly flies up and my roof comes up to say hello. And it's got 310 or 335 horsepower, and that roof is playing round again. And that sounds like quite a lot of power on paper. However, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's got about 150 horsepower. Part of this can probably be attributed to the fact that it weighs 2120 kilograms, yes, over 2 tons, aka heavier than a Jeep Wagoneer, but I don't believe that's the reason, since even for a 2-ton car it felt a bit slow. I believe a lot of it is that it's designed more as a cruiser, like the Auriga Heron, only naturally advancements in technology mean it does handle better. But it's a strange way of handling. Now, as we shall talk about it, it's got 200BX kind of handling. But instead of a vicious, angry slides that vehicle does, this vehicle does gentle, smooth slides, if you see what I mean. It slides, but it's not as much of a problem because it's not as aggressive as that car. It's gentle with its touch. And you'll see I'm moving the wheel to contradict the slide. But I don't have any crazy moments like I do with a 200BX. And I can generally use more power out the corners than I would be able to use with a 200BX because it just grips better despite being such an old vehicle. And yeah, there's not much more I can say. The colour is this browny thing. I can't change that, it's the only colour available. I mean, sure, I could probably learn coding or something and mess around with it, but it's not worth messing with. To be honest, I'm surprised this mod works as well as it does given its age. It's got to be like 2 years old or something. Anyway, I drove it to the end after a few runs and crashes and angry shouty moments, and it set an interesting time. It was quicker than the Auriga Heron, which has to be said is a good thing because it shows advancement and it shows cars getting quicker. However, it is between a school bus and a T65, and I'm pretty sure no Cadillac owner likes hearing that the car handles like a HGV. It doesn't. By the looks of the leaderboard, it appears to handle like one. And, you know, the fact that it's beaten by a school bus is always embarrassing. The Auriga Heron had the excuse that it's such an old car. Cars themselves were relatively new when that was out. This, however, cars were advancing, they were becoming more common. And this was a high-end luxury car of its day. So getting beaten by a school bus is still embarrassing. But overall, I would recommend this. It's not such a bad vehicle to drive. And all I can say now is on to the next vehicle. Next up, we have the Ibishu Pessima convertible by the Trox. I struggled to find the right view there. This is a 1980s Pessima with the roof chopped off pretty much. I'm not sure whether the roof affects the J-beams. I just don't know. I'd assume it does. It's a nice vehicle and it's quite good round the corners as well. This particular model has the dual overhead cam engine, or trim cam as some people like to call them, and it's got the GTZ turbocharger. So this is like the GTZ, only much nicer to drive. GTZ or GTZ? I don't know. I think it's GTZ in the UK, where I'm from. Anyway, it's got some lovely grip to it, and then it has ABS to help under the braking, something I believe the normal GTZ didn't have. It's a very nice vehicle to drive then, and there's not much I can say about it really. The brakes could probably be a bit stronger if we didn't have ABS on them, but it seemed like a worthy inclusion. I actually got this to the end with a good run on my second run, which is very impressive. Normally it takes me varying from about 5 to 20 runs to get a good clean time, with them, but this did it on the second one, which really says something about the handling, to be honest. And for time, as I guess you would expect from something handling this nicely, it did a quick time, but not really quick. It was about 30 seconds slower than the ETK Rocket 900, which is my current fastest vehicle, and that's about what you could expect, I guess. It's a lovely handling vehicle, but you're probably not going the quickest while really finding the lovely handling nice. And my brain is just struggling to put words together, sorry. So when I got to the end, it was a bit destroyed, but I think that was mainly the jump over the end that did about 90% of the damage. The rest of the car stayed in pretty good condition, as it was nice to drive. I didn't tend to throw it into walls in the way other cars I might have, but that can be evidenced by the fact I did it on my second one. So, a very nice vehicle, and on to the next vehicle. Now, the final vehicle we have today is this. If you don't recognise the interior from one of my previous videos, it's the CRX Del Sol from the 90s. Now, assuming this is a version with the most powerful engine, it's got 168 horsepower and weighs 1090 kilograms. Yes, that's correct. And it's a lovely thing to carve around corners. It's up in the air whether or not it's a convertible. Because you can remove the roof, I've just said it is, and include it in the episode, because the range of convertibles in this game, even with mods, is pretty limited. But it's a lovely thing to drive, as I was saying, and the only real problem I had with it was that I try and get round a corner, and I just get tempted to take such an inside line, because I'm like, hey, there's very little understeer for a front wheel drive here with it still whipping. And that's a good thing. Only my driving is rubbish and probably always will be, so I had a bit of a struggle, but I still got down on my third one, which is good. And I also had a moment where I almost drove off the track, but managed to recover it and throw it down the rest of the hill. Now, the time it's set. Again, like the Cadillac, it's in a bit of an embarrassing groove, because it's just above the 200BX Custom, which in its own right sounds very good. However, the car above this is a base model Pessima, meaning it's really questionable as a sports car, because it's supposed to be all fast and lovely round the corners as it is, but other than being great fun, I don't really see the benefit when you can just buy a very basic late 80s economy car and beat it. So yeah, that's annoying, but I did get it to the end with relatively mild damage, until obviously it went over a jump and the entire car gets smashed up, as it does. But overall, it's a lovely vehicle. So, with all being said and done, goodbye until another day, and on to the results.